hot tubs are quite important for families, for couples, groups. They really shout about these things, which helps them command a higher room rate. Unless you do that, you're not going to understand what that overnight experience feels like.
Hello and welcome to the Host Planet podcast. My name's James Varley, the founder of Host Planet. Today, we're going to be talking about upselling and making your short-term rental shoppable. What if there was a way for your guests to buy the amazing mattress that they've slept on, or the amazing towels that they've used in the bathroom, or brilliant kitchen products, or even a Peloton bike? That's what we're going to be chatting today about with Johanne, the co-founder of LiBi. That stands for Love It, Buy It. It's a fab episode, lots in there about branding and upselling and how you can provide an amazing guest experience. Joe, where are short-term rental hosts falling short when it comes to building loyalty?
Okay, this is interesting. So I think the 6 to 12 months that we've been really immersing ourselves in the short-term rental industry, I think there's loads to learn here because it's such a personal space. It's so different to booking a hotel. And I think guests' expectations are almost more than their home. You know, they want a better experience in their home. If you're spending £200, £300, £400 for a weekend away, on arrival, you're expecting nice things, nice interiors. You know, you open that door and get that instant surprise and delight. I want to be here feeling. And I think the disconnect comes from the fact that as consumers, we spend so much more money now at home on lavish coffee machines, lovely shower gel. Hot tubs in the back garden aren't uncommon nowadays, you know. So I think, you know, as a property owner, it's quite a hard thing to achieve that. But making sure that you're paying attention to those small details, you know, and making sure you've got some lovely bits of art, throws, cushions, candles in there really can make a difference to the guest's holiday, memories, etc.
How important do you think it is for owners to actually stay in their rentals to understand the experience that they're providing?
Hugely. I think unless you do that, you're not going to understand what that overnight experience feels like. One of the things for me staying in a short-term rental is not having a nice coffee mug. I know that sounds really, really particular, but I like coffee. I like a nice mug. Also like a nice wine glass. So it's those tiny little details. We come from a retail background, and that mantra, retail is detail, that applies to any industry, you know. So it's just taking that time to kind of walk around your property, see what rooms are lacking, see what things are not in your cupboards, you know, what do you need to replenish on a regular basis.
Okay, real talk now for all you hosts out there. You know that moment when your guest messages you again with, "Hey, what's the Wi-Fi code?" Or you're staring at 5 different calendars, wondering if you've accidentally double booked the cottage. Yes, we've all been there. That's why here at Host Planet, we recommend Hostfully. It's basically your rentals control center. It handles bookings across all the big platforms, syncs your calendars to ensure there are no double bookings, automates guest messages, and even creates these really slick digital guidebooks that stop all the repeat questions. Honestly, it just makes your life easier and keeps your guests happier, helping you achieve those all-important 5-star reviews. And here is a little bonus. If you're a Host Planet listener, you can get $500 off onboarding for Hostfully's property management software and 30% off digital guidebooks for life. Just hit the link in the show notes and use the codes PLANET500 for the PMS and HostPlanetGB for the guidebooks. And if you'd like a proper walkthrough, there's also a link to book a demo with Frank Bosey from Hostfully. He will show you how it all works. Less stress, more bookings, sorted with Hostfully. You mentioned hotels there at the start. What do you think short-term rental operators can learn from the hotel industry?
So we work with hotels, have done for the last 4 years or so, 10 years with cruise. So really immersed in that holiday retail, and that's our backgrounds. I think what hotels do a good job at, I'm not saying they do a brilliant job, but where they invest in things like premium linens, mattresses that are, you know, hotel quality grade for the best night's sleep, they really shout about these things, which helps them command a higher room rate. I think adding things, one of the things I hear a lot in short-term rental, and on your podcast in particular, is about putting better imagery up there to get better reviews, rank higher, get your bookings in there. But ultimately, no matter how good the photograph or the photographer as such, if you've not got a nice environment, the photo's not going to look great. So, add in those things, like I keep mentioning, it's throws, blankets, candles, art, make that space look good. It might even be as simple as a nice vase with flowers, it's just making that space look a little bit more enticing and engaging. And hotels, they do a good job of selling what brand partners, because I think what brands do as well is it creates trust, it creates loyalty, quality. I'm going to somewhere that's invested in L'Occitane amenities, it's invested in a 300 thread count linen. So I think brands can add a lot of weight to your property as well.
I think if you want to get the guests, you've got to have the great photos. If you want to keep them, you've got to have a great mattress, because they got to have a good night's sleep. I remember ages ago asking Mark Simpson what was his number one tip. He said, get a good mattress. And it's something that I think a lot of owners probably don't prioritize. They might get like a bog standard one, or just like middle of the road from IKEA or something like that. But of course it is so important. It's a night's sleep, right?
That's it. And sometimes, James, it even comes from their spare room that's not used. So the mattress is moved from home into short-term rental. Now that's fine if you're starting out, and I appreciate that budgets can be low, people don't have the money. And what I'm speaking about today, it doesn't have to be huge investments, but when you do make those big investments, they typically last you a lot longer. Again, command higher room rates. You're not replenishing all the time, and you're getting better reviews. So ultimately, in the long run, it will last. And I think that's important to realise too.
What do you think short-term rental operators can do to really stand out in such a competitive industry?
Definitely. I think it's really interesting to talk about kind of experiential upselling a lot in the industry, whether that's private chefs, guided tours, etc. But I think we fail to think about when the guest is physically sat in that room at night, or in the living space, what are they doing to make the experience in property as well? So, and again, it sounds repetitive, but it is my business. That is about, at the end of the night, if someone wanting to pour a little bit of whiskey into a nice glass, that's a memory for someone, the smell that they light in that candle, that room aroma will remind them of their stay, of your property, So I think standing out is not just thinking about the physical stay. It's definitely, like you say, getting in your property. What makes you happy? What makes you think again about that space? And products and brands can definitely help do that.
When it comes to upselling and trying to make more revenue, what are the trends that you're seeing in the short-term rental industry that are proving successful?
So we find that so we take a lot of data from our brand partners. So we work with over 50 brands at the moment, constantly adding brands. So if anyone goes on the website, there's something you've not seen, we're loading newness. But we find that taking brand data, because they have the marketing teams, they have the power behind them. So something like Peloton's a really good example, where they have data that shows that 50% of travellers now want an element of activity and wellness in their next stay, whether that's hotel, short-term rental. So we've done lots of studies with them. We've even put a case study in a short-term rental where you can put a Peloton bike into a stay and you can charge up to £50 more a night just for having something there. Airbnb, similarly, a couple of years ago, they talked about if you put a hot tub into your rental, you can command up to £35 extra a night. You typically encourage longer stays, bigger group stays, etc. And then if you can't go as lavish as that at the time being, again, L'Occitane, they've got studies that show if you put in nicer amenities, you can charge up to 15% on your room rate a night. So definitely trends in putting better product in definitely leads to higher room rates. Another one is dog treats, believe it or not. Unbelievable. That's one of our best-selling products online, is premium dog treats. It's not just a Kilner jar with cheap treats in there. They are doggy brews, Sunday roasts for dogs, pasta martinis. And I think guests really appreciate that really extra touch of thinking they love their dogs, they love their four-legged friends. So if you've thought about them as a property owner, it really boosts that instant connection and relationship you have with your guest.
It's a holiday for the dog as well, right? They can't be missing out. It's interesting what you say there about the extra amenities. I've just been in the Far East for a few months, and I always wanted to book a place that had a gym. So if it was in a big tower block in like Manila or Tokyo where I was, and it had a gym, that instantly went to the top of the wish list. Just in terms of like providing those extra luxury items, how important is it to showcase those in your listing if you're providing them? Don't like not talk about them. It would be the worst thing to do, wouldn't it, if you're providing it?
Yeah, definitely. I think before, so at the point of booking, the guest has an abundance, a sea of properties to wade through. I think the most filtered things nowadays that are filtered on are dog-friendly properties. And if you've got a hot tub, so not too dissimilar to you with your gym, hot tubs are quite important for families, for couples, etc., groups. So making sure that you then list the brands that you've put in, whether, we've just launched with LSA glassware. Now, to me, I was thinking, why are we launching glassware when things break or get stolen? That's a big issue. But, they've come up with a product that's unbreakable champagne flutes, smash-proof wine glasses. And I think that's so genius. So I think what brands are trying to do to get into the space is really interesting and encouraging. So shout about it would be my thing. If you've got a Hypnos mattress, if you have a Peloton bike, if you are putting in beautiful linens, shout about it. It's only going to be more engaging. It's only going to make people want to stay and book with you more and more.
So all these luxury amenities and these products, you can get them via your company, of course. So tell us more about LiBi. What is it and how do you operate?
So we'd like to call ourselves brand and product experts. We come from a retail background very much, and within the holiday environment, so cruise retail. And we work with hotels as well. So we've started to make hotels shoppable over the last 4 years. How we do that is basically we work with hotels. We analyse what the guest has liked during their stay, and they can shop it and buy it home. So not only are we kind of getting the data back to see what customers and guests in hotels really love, we can now share that with short-term rentals and say, look, mattresses are selling like hotcakes because they've had the best night's sleep. So understanding what guests are enjoying in hotels and relaying that into short-term rentals has been really important to us. But the reason it was more important for us is that we realised that brands want to be in this space. They want more and more people accessing, using the product. Cost of acquisition is really high. So to get someone to use a Lockstan hand wash is actually quite a hard thing to do. So brands want to be here. I think where we benefit the short-term rental owners, property owners, is the fact that typically you're either buying online, running around the high street, you're not got access to as many premium trade accounts. So what LiBi does is we treat you like a business customer. We use our collective buying power and be able to give you the offers and the discounts on these products that you might not be able to get. Well, you definitely wouldn't be able to get with some of the brands. So we've given kind of access, new brands into this environment at trade pricing, which is super exciting.
So very simply, you use these products yourself in your short-term rental, and then you say to your guests, hey, do you want to buy this thing? And here's the link. And presumably you get a commission on any sale?
Yeah, that's how we work with hotels at the moment, for sure. Yeah, and the hotel gets commission, we get commission. We are evolving to that in short-term rental space, so that will be innovation to come in the next year or so, for sure. So watch this space on that. There might be another revenue stream for your short-term rental property owners. But at the moment, we're just keen on elevating spaces and making you be able to increase your room rates and your revenue that way to start with. But eventually, yes, big dream is for guests of short-term rentals to be able to shop their stay as well.
And is this mainly for rentals at the luxury end of the scale, or is this something that anybody can consider, even if budget? I mean, there might be people out there running more budget rentals who think, oh, I don't think I can afford this stuff. But what would your thoughts on that be?
Definitely, James. So I think it's interesting when people come on the site or they initially hear about investing in product, and we've talked a lot about hot tubs and fitness equipment, which is a heavy investment. But I think what our site allows you to do is to kind of almost test and trial in a small way. So investing in, and I will give the example of L'Occitane because we're speaking about them, a hand wash typically on the high street is £23 for a bottle. That's expensive for a hand wash, especially for a short-term rental. Whereas on the site with the collective buying power, you can buy a pack of 6 and the price drops right down to £7.23 to be exact. So, but to the guest, the perceived value there is you have went out and bought that £20 plus hand wash for your property. So the perceived value of the whole property instantly goes up. But yeah, that's our overall idea. It's investing in small ways. We definitely understand that things like mattresses, hot tubs are more one-offs or every 5 years, etc. Whereas something quite regular that is bought is the amenities, is the dog treats. So there's really something for everyone at any end of the scale to test, trial. probably definitely are targeting the people who are interested in really upscaling their properties, renovating properties. But at the same time, if someone just wants to do a nod to luxury, to add something else in, we can accommodate that too.
How easy is it to get started with LiBi? And I'm really interested to know, what are the most popular products? I mean, you mentioned dog treats there. Is there anything else that short-term rental hosts should be aware of?
Yes. So basically, we like to keep it simple. We are very much in kind of trade marketplace online. So we have our main libiloves.com, where you'll find LiBi Trade Marketplace. You can access and instantly see prices savings on all brands. What we do like to do, so at the moment we started with 50 short-term rental clients. We're now up to about 100. We've really built relationships with those clients. They've been individual hosts to start with. We are starting to work with some more aggregator groups. Can't name them today, but hopefully soon we'll be launching with them in the industry. But yeah, it's very much go online, see what you like, and then you basically can buy. We like to keep it super simple. Best products, I really can't get over the amount of Paw Star martinis I am selling. I used to be a fashion buyer, James, and now I'm selling doggy brew and Paw Star martinis. So that's an interesting shift for me personally. But other than that, the next categories is your basic three core, which are linens, then toiletries, then mattresses. But we have everything from TV consoles, art, and we're striving more this year to kind of regionally look at more local product, like local artists, local potters, hampers, wines, etc., that come from different regions. So stay with us as we grow, please. Yeah. Any feedback, anything that short-term rental hosts are looking for as well. We don't want to just load the site with product that's not going to work for people. So we're very conscious of getting that core categories correct and then building on it.
Yeah, really interesting. In terms of the products that you sell, maybe from the hotels at the moment, which are the ones that provide the most commission? Which are the ones that provide the most sales? I'm thinking like the high-end products here. You mentioned the Peloton bikes and that kind of thing.
Yep. So it works. All brands categories deliver different commissions, margins, etc. Naturally, you'll sell a lot more things like shampoo, conditioners, hand lotion sets, which deliver really high margins and commissions, and your turn's higher, but your price is lower. But as soon as you sell a mattress at £1,000 plus a night, that revenue is quite nice. But typically your commission is a little bit lower. Don't really want to say them over and out loud because then you're committed. But yeah, it ranges anywhere kind of from 50 down to 15, and every category is different.
Interesting stuff. When it comes to upselling, I'm sure there'll be hosts up there who think, I've never done any upselling. I don't want to annoy them, I guess. I'm not sure what to do. What would you suggest are the best practices for providing upsells?
Yeah, I think the biggest bit of feedback we've had throughout our whole journey is people don't want to come across salesy. You don't want to be adding on lots of money to your nightly room rate and it being really obvious. So it's all about being subtle, if I'm honest. I think people really do appreciate and notice those differences going into a property and seeing nice things around them. So upselling is a difficult one, but I think what you can do is just put a little bit extra cash onto your room rate if you do have nicer products within your properties. Whereas and list them, like you say, list that you've got a welcome hamper, list that you've got whatever toiletries you're putting in your bathroom. So I think that's probably more from our point of view with brands and products.
And in terms of the process, is it simply a case of, sending a link to the marketplace when people book or something like that, or maybe like reminding people during their stay that products are available? Are there any like best communication tips really for hosts?
Yeah, so at the moment, what we're doing is we're deliberately targeting hosts themselves. So we will be doing our biggest efforts this year to get our LiBi brand out there. I'm calling it LiBi Marketplace at the moment, but we are changing to LiBi Collection. I say in the next 2 weeks, my team say in the next 4 to 6 weeks. So watch this space. But LiBi Collection, we will be putting out loud and proud. We'll be at your air success with you to teach the industry about LiBi Collection. And how we'll be kind of targeting hosts is through big property management groups. So where you have your property listed on a big aggregator group, they will be pushing it to hosts through members portals, their home pages. I can't disclose who we're partnering with at the moment, but we have 2 and 3 big ones to come in the next few weeks. So hopefully the industry will get to know us a bit better. And I think the main benefits to think about, we're really trying to think about the pain points for a short-term rental owner, and now knowing that sometimes, in most cases, this is a side hustle, it's a second business, people have full-time jobs. So we're trying to help you save time, save money, increase your guest impact, and ultimately profit. And doing that through one factor, because there's so many layers to short-term rental management. And here I am talking about put some nice pillows and put some nice throws in, but it makes a big impact. And if you can do it in a one-stop shop element and at really good pricing, why wouldn't you?
Makes a lot of sense. There will be hosts and managers out there thinking, are you integrated with any property management platforms or that kind of thing? So what's the situation there?
Yeah, like I say there. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we've been working with a number of the big players that cover quite a lot of the UK properties. So yes, we will be launching on their main landing pages as the go-to place for premium hotel and luxury products at trade pricing. We'll be also integrating into members portals. Hopefully members within these kind of aggregator groups will be receiving e-blasts. And how we want to do that is not to be too salesy towards you guys. We really want to educate that, putting this product in here can lead to increased revenue by X amount, deliver, we'll be given a lot of industry stats, and like I say, of which the brands have collected from kind of global response.
Fantastic. Yeah, always good to back it up with the data, of course. Yeah. So tell us, where can people find out more information about LiBi? Where should they go?
LiBiLoves.com. You will find the two different platforms on there, but obviously the LiBi Trade Marketplace is the one to go, and we will be launching our new site very soon. So whilst I'm at your Air Success, James, I will be shouting about that. We'll also be doing an exclusive offer for people there on the day to sign up and get some extra discounts. So yeah, but LiBiLoves.com at the moment is your best place to go. And anyone's more than welcome to reach out to me, ask me any questions. Make me learn more. I'm always up for learning. So yeah, please reach out.
Amazing. We'll put all your details in the show notes so people can reach out. All right then, Joe, we've got a few questions to finish. First of all, your favourite brand in the STR industry, apart from LiBi, of course?
I can't say LiBi. I have to say, I'm making a few friends over the last couple of months, you being one of them, James, a big supporter of myself and LiBi. But female founder to female founder, I'm going to go Sidi Mittal and yhangry. Super cool, very innovative, and doing a good thing for chefs as well. I like that narrative around chefs are underpaid, and she is kind of solving that problem too.
Yeah, absolutely. Great shout out for Sidi there. She's got an amazing business, and it's great to be collaborating with her. Okay, then a individual in the STR space that you'd like to give a shout out to, and why?
Yeah, I'm probably going to back that with you, James, as a compliment to you today. I kind of, you again can start your own business in the last few years. I know as a founder how hard it is. You've rebranded, looks amazing, and very welcoming to the industry. I think one thing I have found with the short-term rental industry is people are willing to learn, people want to help. So it's really not an intimidating space to get involved in. So thank you for allowing me to do so.
All right, it's a pleasure. And thank you very much for the shout out. That means a lot. Thank you. And thanks for your kind comments about our new brand as well. Yeah. Final question then, your number one tip for hosts who want to create a shoppable rental?
Oh, go back to the basics, don't have horrible bars of soap sitting on like they're all messy, they're all clumped up, they're not nice and objects. So walk around your property, have a look at the basics, whether that's the cutlery, the plates, the soaps. We're not asking you to overhaul and redesign your space, but it's those simple little touches that guests will think, someone's thought about that. Someone's really thought about me being in this space. So yeah, that's what I would advise.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and telling us all about LiBi. Thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Not at all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Host Planet podcast. It's been a real pleasure to discuss upselling, branding, and how you can potentially make more revenue as a short-term rental operator with Joe Hedges there from LiBi. Remember, Host Planet is the fastest growing multimedia platform in the short-term rentals industry. We help hosts and property managers supercharge their businesses by sharing a wealth of free education across our channels. Head to our website, hostplanet.club, to sign up for our newsletter, download our suite of ebooks, and listen to all our podcast series. That's it for today's show. I'll see you soon.